The area of Lake Titicaca, between Peru and Bolivia, is an important enclave that holds many enigmas that, at present, are still unanswered. On its shores we can see the remains of ancient civilizations, such as Tiwanaku, cradle of the origin of the Andean peoples, or some of the most representative monuments, and constructions of the area. From Lake Titicaca emerged the god Wiracocha, or Lord of the Staffs, the supreme creator god. The myth says that he appeared on the island of the sun and subsequently went to his first settlement at Tiwanaku. Wiracocha is described as white-skinned, blonde and bearded, who after creating man and everything else, set off in a northwesterly direction to end up disappearing into the sea. The main temples of the Inca and pre-Inca cultures were built on this imaginary line. Within this route, we find a mountain range that rises suddenly in the terrain, as if it had been artificially sculpted, something that should not be there, according to the characteristics of the Titicaca Plain. From the distance, we can see immense rock walls that look like the dorsal fins of some marine animal emerging from the earth itself. As we get closer, we see that it is a stony forest whose rocks take on truly surprising shapes and even seem to be molded on a whim. To go inside these walls causes the astonishment of anyone. It is a place that reminds us of other energy centers, as is the case of the mountain of Montserrat in Spain or the mountain of Coquino in Macedonia, among others. The most representative of the amazing enclave is a door-like structure approximately 7 m high and 7 m wide, carved into the red sandstone rock. It is known by many names such as Hayu Marca, meaning City of Spirits. It is also called Wilka Yuda, Place of the Sun, or Gate of the Gods. Many locals call it the Door of the Devil, probably because of the Spanish censorship due to the pagan rituals that took place there. Although it is popularly known as Aramu Muru, in honor of the Inca priest Aramu that, according to legend, he took the golden sun disk kept in the temple of Coricancha, in Cusco, and fled from the Spaniards to this place, where he placed the solar disk in the hollow in the center of the door, as if it were a key. The door opened and disappeared behind it. Although there is a theory that says that the name Aramu comes from a very similar Quechua word, Amaru, which means snake. It is known the veneration that the American people felt towards the snake, so much so that some consider that the word America would derive from the word Amarucaca, which means the land of the snake. Currently, rituals of all kinds are performed at the door, and anyone who visits it can perform an ancestral ceremony, with which they may be able to open it. There are numerous legends about disappearances of people, but perhaps the most striking was the one that occurred 65 years ago, when a band of musicians began to play in front of the door and disappeared without a trace. Only one of them was able to escape and witness that enigmatic disappearance, thanks to the fact that at that moment he was far away from there. Aramu Muru is a place surrounded by mystery, where there have been cases of sightings of strange lights, and there are people who claim to have had visions of stars or columns of fire, have heard sounds, and even have felt the presence of a tunnel behind the door. Just behind the door, on the other side of the mountain, are the remains of what appears to be the tunnel that connected the cities of Tiwanaku and Cusco, used by the Incas to move, and according to the testimony of the Incas themselves, this artificial tunnel, curiously, was already built before being used by them. The question that arises is, if the Incas were not the builders of this tunnel, who made a work of such magnitude and at what time? It is probable that the road taken by Wiracocha is related to this tunnel and is a means of connecting the cities. Erroneously, they were attributed to the Incas, but they are much older. Currently, the access to the Aramu Muru tunnel is intentionally covered to prevent people from entering in search of valuable objects, since gold and some precious stones have been found inside. Could the door of Aramu Muru be an access to that tunnel? Not far from where the opening in the rock that reveals the tunnel is, we can see an engraving, which may have to do with the gods who built the door. This petroglyph engraved in the rock is a pre-Inca carving that, in spite of its wear, shows a being with strange characteristics. Who did they want to represent? Let's observe a similarity in the north of Spain. In the shelter of a cave there is, among others, a carving in the rock with very similar characteristics. Is it possible that they were related? About Aramu Muru, it is said that it is a dimensional portal that connects our world with another dimension and even with another planet, where the beings who built it come from. The truth is that we find a multitude of references about dimensional doors all over the world that bear a striking resemblance. Like the Temple of Solomon, with its giant columns, and the Masonic rituals that derived later, also the Sumerian engravings, in clay and stone. They are all similar. Even the Egyptians speak of star travel. Some are carved in the mountains like the tomb of King Midas or others in the Middle East. But it is not necessary to go far away, since Wiracocha, in the door of the son of Tiahuanaco, also shows the same with his staffs. Between the city of Cuzco and Machu Picchu we found something really fascinating. We found a door carved under a rock, a place ceremonial called Napa Church, which is again within the route of Wiracocha and used as a ceremonial center since ancient times. Can it be another dimensional door? All these similarities with Aramu Muru show that in the past there was a knowledge that is currently lost or is being hidden from us. But according to a prophecy, the gate of Aramu Muru will open someday, which, they say, will be many times bigger than it is today, and the gods will return in their solar ships.